هذه كانت حياتي وهذه اختياراتي. معلش يا حبيبي، اتفقنا نخرج لكن صاحبتي جات كنسل فانا ما ادري ايش يعني. يلا الصلاة. ايوه طيب نواف يلا الصلاة. طيب يا امي طيب. الله اكبر. طيب خذي انت شاشه. ثانكس. يلا في السريع من هالحلقة بسرعة. خلاص صباح انتهي. الله. أنا تموت. هذه كانت حياتي وهذه اختياراتي. أنا توي مت. هذه كانت حياتي وهذه اختياراتي.
ويتعامل معي إذا أتعامل على شيء. الدورات حول شجرة هي سهلة. أنا تجد أن تكون أكثر حرصا وشجاعة أن تكون على الصلاة. بالطبع الآن
يلا الصلاة. يا بنتي الصلاة. ما لي صلاة.
Who knows this person? Anyone? Huh? He? Ledger. Some of you that don't know him, you guys know him? Huh? Who is he? The Joker, right? Okay. How many movies did he make? 17 movies. Just his real estate was worth about 66 million ringgit. That's just his house. You know anyone who owns a 66 million ringgit house? Have you ever lived in a 66 million ringgit house? No. How did he die? And when did he die? He died at the age of 28. Okay? From a drug overdose. They found him lying down on the floor naked. And one of the best movies that he made was called The Dark Knight. He died before it was completed. So he couldn't even see the finishing of The Dark Knight. How much did he make from The Dark Knight? 20 million US dollars. He made about 83, almost 100 million ringgits by being a joker. You know anyone who jokes around and he makes 100 million? No way. He was a joker and he made 100 million ringgits, almost. And he died without even having received that money. Okay? So he was nominated, I guess they felt sorry for him. He received an Oscars after his death. What is he going to do with an Oscar after his death? These were his cars, and that's his helicopter. Okay? Before, he used to be transported in a helicopter, go from one place to another in his nice Porsche, but now he's being transported on a stretcher. This is how he looked like. His post-mortem picture. This was his house in Beverly Hills. Okay? That's the best picture I could find. Now this is his house. He went from how many bedrooms? What, 16, 20 bedrooms to just one small little 6 by what? 6 by 3. You guys know this guy? Huh? Looks familiar? I don't know if it's a guy or a he, but I'm assuming it's a guy. You guys know him, sisters? Kim Jong-hyun from K-pop, one of the lead singers of Shine E. 27 years old when he died last year. He was making 500,000 US dollars a year. How much is that? That's about 2 million ringgits. Anyone over here making 2 million ringgits a year? No. He was worth, not too much, but still 3 million, more than any one of us could ever dream of. He got so many awards, all right? His album was #4 in the world. And when he was about to kill himself, he wrote a letter to his sister saying, please let me go. Tell me I did well, final farewell. This is what he sent as a text message to his sister. And he killed himself. A person who's on top of his game. He thinks he has the looks, he thinks he has the money, he thinks he has everything, the voice, everything. Yeah? But what did he do, man? I'll tell you what he did. So many plastic surgeries he did to himself. This was his house and that's his car. Okay? Now this is how he's being transported. And this is his house now. Before, he lived in a nice villa. And now, you're living with a whole bunch of ants and worms. You guys know this guy? Mr. Fabio? Or Prince Fabio? His name is Rashid bin Muhammad bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the son of the ruler of Dubai. Okay? He was born in 1981 and he died in 2015. He died at the age of 33 years old. 33. You know 33? That's the peak of someone's youth. That's when he really thinks he's on top of the world. Scientifically speaking, they say when you reach around 30 to 35, so average 33, a person he is at the peak of his strength. And then after that, he goes down. So this guy, he died from a heart attack, and plus he has the look, so many sisters committed suicide after he died. Yeah, Muslim, non-Muslims. Look at that. He was worth $1.6 billion. You know how much billion is? Huh? I'll tell you how much 1 billion is. This is 1 million, yeah? If you were to spend $1 million every single day, you cannot spend $1 billion in your lifetime. Imagine if $1 million a month, if you were to spend, you can't spend it in your lifetime. Imagine you go to the mall and you say, okay, $1 million, I'm going to buy a car today. 1 million tomorrow. You say $1 million worth of shoes I'm going to buy. The third day you're going to say, I'm going to buy $1 million worth of purses and wallets and makeup and food. And a time is going to come, you're like, I can't spend. Even if I want to spend money, what am I going to buy? Right? That's how much money he had. So he died from an overdose of drugs and alcohol. Overdose of drugs and alcohol. This is what he loved to do. He had cars. He had yachts. He had horses. In fact, he had a company that trained. I saw some of those horses when I was in Dubai in 2013, sorry. Horses. They have, what is one of them? Thoroughbred. One of the best horses. They get trainers from not only Australia, but from South America. Argentina. To come and train their horses. They crossbreed them. And the best breed is the thoroughbred. All they carry is the thoroughbred horses. Jet skis, skydiving, private airplanes and jets. That's what he had. Everything. In fact, he was a crown prince. You know what the crown prince means? When the father dies, it's just hereditary. You just take it from your father. This is his personal wealth, not the wealth that you get to inherit after your dad. That's just your personal money from what you worked. Otherwise, there's no bills for you to pay. There's nothing. You can do whatever you can just burn it if you want. Everything else is free for you. He won 2 gold medals in 2006 Asian Olympics. Okay? These are the companies he owned. He was a partner in Tesla. Some of these are the banks, right? And you guys know how much banks make, especially before the 2009 collapse. This was the Zabil racing company that he had. Okay, just one horse. One horse. You know how much it costs? 5 million, 10 million ringgit, dollars. They go to Kentucky, they go to UK to buy these horses and race them. But he was removed. In his lifetime, he was removed as a crown prince because he killed an assistant of his. Right? So Allah shamed him while he was still alive. 7 years before he died. This is him right now enjoying himself with his father and his other brothers, the Olympic winning. And this is him now being preyed upon. Imagine if someone was to say, you know what, this person, he had the first prize in the recitation of Quran. And then we can say, all right. These were his cars. Right? And now this is how he's being transported. This was his house. So just look at your house. Okay? You know the small little condominium you bought. You're like, oh, I have such a nice view, and I bought. How much did you buy it for? 350,000 ringgit. Oh, okay. How much loan did you take? And what was the interest rate? This guy, loan-free, interest-free. That's his house. It doesn't matter how big your house is. At the end of the day, this is where you're gonna go. That's his house now. Now, who's this woman? You guys don't know her? Her name is Sheikh Sa'd. Okay. Born in 1925, died in 2006. 81 years old. She memorized the Quran at age 15. Her teacher, Nafisa, Sheikh Nafisa, would not teach any woman who would come and memorize the Quran except that they took an oath. They will never get married. Now why is that? They said there's so many women out there, they memorize the Quran, they get married, and then they forget their Quran. They forget to serve the Quran, because then you have to serve your husband, your kids, and then those things makes you forget to serve the Quran. But anyway, she could not keep her promise, so she got married. Okay? She memorized the Quran at age 15. By the age of 23, she had an ijazah in all the 10 different recitations. Okay? It's not easy to get. I only have 3. Connected to the Prophet ﷺ with only 27 people in the middle. So what does that mean? That means here's Allah, then here's Jibreel, and here's the Prophet ﷺ, and then here is, for example, let's say, Ali, Uthman, Zayd, Ubay ibn Ka'b, and then the list goes on. And then her name is right here. Okay? And so on, okay? Between here and here, there's 27 people. So which is considered to be one of the shortest in the world, by the way. She gave ijazah to these kinds of people. People from Egypt, Pakistanis, Sudanese, Palestinians, Lebanese, Chad, and people from Afghanistan. However, when she got married, she couldn't have any kids. She couldn't have any kids. She became blind at a young age. You know how hard it is to see and then go blind as compared to being born blind? Because being born blind, they don't know the reality of this world. They've never seen the colors. So they think everyone is like that. When you tell them blue or red or green, they don't know these colors except just the name. They don't know the reality of it. They will say it. If you say the watermelon is red, is so nice and juicy, they understand the juicy part, but not the red part. All they see is what? Darkness. So they have their own imagination. I'm talking about people who are born blind, yeah? But those who used to see and then they went blind, that's completely different. For them, Allah says He will give them Jannah if they have sabr. That's their reward, if they have sabr. So she went blind, she was sick, she got married, and then she couldn't have any kids. And towards the end of her life, she said, Alhamdulillah, I feel Allah always wanted good for me. If I had children, it would have made me busy from serving the Quran, and I would have forgotten. Look at the positive outlook. And she also said, we used to recite the Quran to her while she was lying on her hospital bed. Okay? She's lying down. There's pictures on Google Images. She's lying on, and people are hurrying up to get ijazah from her because she is one of the strongest in the Quran. This is a woman before she dies. And she said, Alhamdulillah, I don't have any kids, but look at all of these people I have given ijazah to. Thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, they're all my kids. Why do you need kids? Biologically, to have kids, biologically it means to spread your DNA, right? Your genes. To carry your DNA. Really, emotionally, what does it mean? Psychologically. So when you grow old, you will have your kids support you and take care of you, right? Religiously, what does it mean? When you die, someone will remember you and make dua for you. But she had no kids. Just like Aisha radiallahu anha, no kids. But look at all those people that has come after her. That will, every letter of the Quran that they will be reciting, who's getting the reward? Her, along with all those people. Of course, except for her. All of those people. So she said, I'm going to live here in this world for how long? 70, 80, 100 years? Let me see what I can do. Okay? This is her serving the Quran. Don't think you're too old, too young. I'll show you some other pictures to serve the Quran. This is her receiving one of the awards as being the possessor of the highest sanad in the world. Who is this person? Not him. This one. His name is Sheikh Muhammad Abdul Hamid. Born in 1926, died in 2012. I recited Quran to him, alhamdulillah, right before he died. Between him and the Prophet ﷺ is 27 people, sorry. 27 people. Same as when she died, right, because when Sa'd died, now there's no one who is the highest except because them two were the same, the highest possessor. So I do not get my ijazah from her, but I got it from someone who is equally or actually better than her. Because it's a bit complicated for me to explain, but he had one of the highest ijazah. There's not a single country in the world except that he has students there. There's not a single country, even in Papua New Guinea. There's people who have ijazah from him. The Imam of the Haram of Medina, he has ijazah from him. Okay? One of the people of the Quran. He memorized the Quran at the age of 10, became blind when he was 1 year old. Right? He gave ijazah to students from all over the world. This is how he's spreading his legacy. This is what he's doing to serve Islam. And this is his janazah. Okay. He's a blind person. He doesn't know what's what. People would take him for like a month, 2 months to the Gulf or to Libya or to Morocco, and he would listen to people. He will get only about 3-4 hours of sleep a day, because there's constantly people reciting Quran to him. So he can give them ijazah. And what does ijazah mean? That you must recite the Quran to me the way I heard it from my teacher. Who heard it from his teacher? Who heard it from the Sahaba? Who heard it from the Prophet? Who heard it from Jibreel? Who heard it from Allah? That's what ijazah means. You're connected not only to the Prophet but to Jibreel and Allah directly. What more connection do you want? Imagine if I was to give you guys, here's the Agum, and he had an aunt, and this aunt had a half brother, and this half brother is married to my half sister, and that's how I'm connected. You will find people doing that. You'll find people saying, this is how I'm connected. Sorry. This is how I'm connected to the Agum. Or to any person of importance in this world. Yeah? Forget about being half this and half that and all kinds of crooked lines. You're directly connected to Allah. Because this Quran was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ. Allah recited it to Jibreel. Jibreel recited it to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ took it and he recited it to the Sahaba. The Sahaba took it and they spread it all over the world. So imagine you all being connected to the Prophet ﷺ. What honor is this? And Allah only gives this honor to those people whom He loves. You think Allah just gives it to everyone? Huh? You think this, what is it called? These different dato-ship and these different positions that they give the government, do you think they give it to just anyone? They give it to people who serve the country, right? They give it to those people who serve either the country, the king, or the government, or whatever position they may have. That's how they give it. You think Allah is going to give you the honor of being connected to Him or the Prophet or Jibreel by you just sitting down and saying, "Oh Allah, give it to me"? And maybe on the weekend you take one course or two courses on tadabbur or try to memorize. No, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have that honor. Who's this person? You guys know him? You guys know this book, right? Fortress of a Muslim? Huh? Fortress of a Muslim. He just died a few months ago. Rahimahullah. This book is probably the smallest book you'll ever have, that you'll ever find. Okay? Such a simple, beautiful book. What did he do? He just did some research, collected from different authentic sources, books. You just go to Bukhari, chapter of dhikr. Take a few hadiths from there. Go to Imam Muslim, chapter of dhikr. Take the hadith from there. Go to At-Tirmidhi. That's all he did. But this simple, yet sincere effort of his, Allah accepted it. This book, there's not a single place in the world that this book doesn't exist. How many of you recite the du'as from here? Every single day, morning and evening, and in between. Who gets the reward? So he only had one life. You know the kuffar say YOLO, right? You only live once, so party it up. Live your life to the fullest. So he said, okay, I also have YOLO. You only have one life to live, so make an impact. Do something. Didn't he write a book on fiqh or usul al-fiqh or tafsir? No, it's a small little book telling us, me and you, we can do something so small, but yet the impact is so great on the ummah. You're dead. Your book lives on. Your memory lives on. Your physical body is dead. Yet your name lives on. Who makes that name? When was the last time you guys remember Heath Ledger? Or picked up The Dark Knight to watch it? Or picked up an album of Shiny to listen to it? No. Because tomorrow someone else better than them are going to come and act and sing and all of that. But people like this, you're going to read that book even after someone is dead. You don't read it. And that's a sign of someone's ikhlas. Right? In general. Someone's sincerity. That when they die, their book are still alive. And some people, in their lifetime, their books are forgotten. In their lifetime, while they're still alive. No one knows their books. No one knows their work. Okay, you guys might be saying, oh, these old people you're bringing, who are these old people and these people religious, and I can't compete with them. Yeah. Who's this guy? Who's this kid? Anyone? He's the son of a parent just like you all. He's a Sri Lankan boy. My wife's student. Mahmoud. His name is Mahmoud. Right? He goes to the International Islamic School of Malaysia, IISM, Gombak. Yeah? He was known for wearing the hat. I mean, that was his signature, right? That's his signature, just like yours, mashallah. Salah, mashallah. On time. No one needs to tell him to pray salah. Yet, however, something happened. I got a phone call, my wife got a phone call while we were outside doing a few things. We got a phone call, said that he died. He's 10 years old. We were here in TTDI, and we got a phone call that he died. So I went to Slain Hospital. We made a U-turn. We left everything. We were pursuing the dunya. We forgot about the dunya. We just made a U-turn. Now what did this kid do that is making us remember him, and you guys don't even know him? What, for me, I've never met, I've probably met him once. Just maybe once, like, during a performance at the school that they were doing, along with all the other kids. But, who's gonna know a kid from some island who's here international, doesn't have, such famous parents to be remembered? No. This is him now, lying down. Got food poisoning, and he was throwing up for a couple of days. I think he got dehydrated and died. But this is the legacy he left behind. This is what my wife wrote about. I will never ever forget that smile. His happy personality, his bubbly, his love for Islam. Just his love for Islam. Little kid. That love for Islam was manifested in him not only having one of the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ on his head, but also his eagerness to learn, his respect for his teachers, his akhlaq towards both the young and the old, and his attitude towards life in general. Always positive, always. Okay? She said, I sincerely believe Allah loved him so much, He protected him from the evil of this world. His passing was a blessing in disguise. I can only imagine the parents' grief. You know what he used to say to his parents? A 10-year-old kid, what do you think he's going to say to his parents? He used to say to his parents, I'm going to take you guys to Jannah. I'm going to take you guys to Jannah. Now this kid, 10-year-old kid, well, what does he have in his head he's going to take him to Jannah? Probably he's going to think, I'm going to become Hafiz of Quran and take you guys to Jannah. Possibly. Right? But little did he or his parents know that Allah made him say something which was going to be in his qadr. The Prophet ﷺ said, whosoever's kids, three children, die before reaching the age of puberty, the parents will go to Jannah. Some Sahabi said, what about 2? He said, even 2. He said, what about 1? He said, even 1. So any person whose kids or whose kid dies before reaching the age of puberty and they have sabr, that kid will be a means for him to enter into Jannah. And he was saying this, I doubt he knew this hadith, and I doubt he knew he was going to die. He said, I'm going to take you guys to Jannah. So the angel said, Ameen. They took his life, and every single kid, kid at primary, they're not like, they don't like each other. They fight, they have their own small little cliques and games. But he was loved by every single person. I was picking up my son from Al-Furqan at 4 o'clock. We got the news like around 1, so I went and I went to the hospital and came back to pick up my son from the Tahfiz program. And then I told my son, I said, do you know Mahmoud? He was like, yeah, I know him. And the second thing he said, such a good kid. And I didn't break the news to him. I said, do you know Mahmoud? He said, yeah, such a good kid. That's all he said. I said, he died. And what he did, he just started like bawling. Just started crying. And they weren't friends. They were not, because he was in 6th grade and he was in 5th or fifth grade. They weren't even like in the same, they weren't, but they knew. The kid that always smiled, the kid that always prayed his salah on time, and the kid that wore the hat. That's the legacy he left behind. Now he's 6 months underground. Well, where is he? Inshallah in Jannah. But that's a small little legacy for that 10-year-old to leave behind. We need to reflect. That was one life he lived. One life. And that's how he lived it. He lived it so people like us can remember him and make dua for him. What did you do? You were 20 years old, 15 years old, 30, 40, 50. Who's going to remember you? And if they're going to remember you, how are they going to remember you? How and for how long? How long before you were born were you remembered? Like, did people say, like, 2 years ago there's going to be a boy, his name is Ali, and he's going to be born? No one knew. No one knows your name even after you're born. They're fighting until the 7th day. So you don't have to be this big mufassir and big sheikh and big stuff. You can be a regular person. A regular person who serves just his parents, and you will be remembered. You can be like an example for the rest of your family and community. So what's this world? This world is going to pass by. This dunya, whether you like it or not, the end of it is death. If this dunya had no other deficiency except death, that's good enough for it that we talk bad about. Do you guys understand what I just said? If this dunya had no other bad character, or if this dunya had no other defect except the fact that you're going to die in it, that's good enough for us to talk bad about this dunya. Just the fact that we're gonna die in this dunya. This dunya was compared to many things. One of them is ice left out in the sun. What happens to ice left out in the sun? Melts, evaporates, vanishes. That's what happens. You're born, you're going to melt, you're going to evaporate from people's minds afterwards, and you're going to vanish and no one's going to remember you. How many people do we know in the history of this world that came and walked the same earth that we did? That conquered the same earth that we're living upon? That ate from the same earth and from the same vegetation that we're eating from right now? What legacy did they leave? They were just normal Joes. People who went from 9 to 5 or to hunt or to work or to do whatever and come back and eat and sleep, and that's it. Who do we remember? Those that made an impact that we're reaping its fruits right now. Those are the type of people. This dunya, the Prophet ﷺ said, it is worth less than a wing of a mosquito. You guys know what's the wing of a mosquito? That's the wing of a mosquito. If I was to say, here I have a wing of a mosquito, give me 1 ringgit. If I give you a wing of a mosquito, would you give me 1 ringgit? Oh, you wouldn't give me even 50 cents, because at least 50 cents you can buy something. What are you going to do with the wing of a mosquito? If I was to give you this wing of a mosquito, I just hit a mosquito, right? Because it was biting me, and then I took out the wing and I say, here you go. The Prophet ﷺ said, this dunya is not even worth a wing of a mosquito. And if it was worth a wing of a mosquito, Allah would not have given a sip of water to the kuffar. You know water? 1 sip. Not even 1 sip to the kuffar. But because it's so useless to Allah, Allah gives it to everyone. Those who make shirk and those who have tawheed. What does that mean? That means don't ever think that if you have a house or money or a good job or whatever it is that you are being blessed. Because that's not a sign of blessing from Allah. Because if it was a sign of blessing, then we would say Fir'aun was blessed, Qarun was blessed, Abu Jahl was blessed, Namrud was blessed. You guys know who Namrud was? Huh? Namrud was a person in the time of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Malik al-Maut was asked. So Namrud, he was the person who built Jannah for him in this world. He said, Ibrahim is talking about Jannah, I'm going to build Jannah for myself in this world. He's talking about the hereafter, after we die, I'm going to do it in this world. So he started preparing and building and building. And on the day that it was supposed to, the grand opening, and he was supposed to go and see this Jannah, these gardens and these flowing rivers and springs and houses and whatever else that they have. Right before the gate was open, he died. Malik al-Maut came and he killed him. So Malik al-Maut was asked, did you ever feel sorry for anyone that you killed? Malik al-Maut does not feel sorry for anyone. Because that's his job. He cannot disobey Allah by having his emotions mixed. So he said, I never disobeyed Allah, but I felt sorry for killing two people. One person is when Allah told me to take the life of a woman who just gave birth. So I felt sorry for that baby that was in the middle of the jungle, and the mother, Allah told me to kill her. So I said, what's going to become of this baby? And the second person was this Namrud, that he spent his whole life transgressing against Allah and challenging Allah, and now he wants to build a Jannah for himself in this world, but he did not get the pleasure to see it. So Allah told me to take it before he's even to have the first glance of it. So I felt sorry for him. Then look. So Allah said, that child, that Namrud was that child. So you felt sorry for the same person 2 times. That's this dunya. There was another king. He used to have people come and make, as normal, even nowadays. Before you can even talk to a king or some of these people, you have to bow down, right? Back in the days, they used to make sajda, full-on sajda. So this king, Allah punished him. He had a mosquito go up his nose. You know what's a mosquito? He had a mosquito go up his nose all the way into his brain. And this mosquito was bothering him because he was nibbling on his brain. So what happened? Every time he hit himself, this mosquito, he became a bit dizzy and he felt a little bit at ease. So he said, all right, anyone who's going to come and talk to me and visit me, he has to hit me first before he can talk to me. Before it was what? You have to make sajda before you can talk to me, right? Now is, you take off your shoes and you hit him on the head, because then the mosquito becomes dizzy. The mosquito inside becomes dizzy. That's the fitna Allah. That's the thing that Allah tested him. So they hit him. Every time someone comes, instead of saying, oh, king, here's, make the sajda, take a shoe, hit him on the head, and then he said, okay, now you can talk. He got hit on the head so many times, his head burst open. And the mosquito came out, broke his wing, fell on the ground. Allah said, if you want, I give you his kingdom. He said, no, Allah, I just want my wing back. even to that mosquito, his wing was worth more than the kingdom of that king. So the Prophet ﷺ said in hadith of At-Tirmidhi that لو كانت الدنيا تعدل عند الله جناح بعوضة ما سقى كافرا منها شربة ماء. Allah will not give a sip of water to the kuffar if this world was even worth a wing of a mosquito. Allah never ever looked at this world with a merciful eye. What does that mean? Ever since Allah created this dunya, He never looked at it with a merciful eye. He never looked at it with an eye of mercy. It doesn't mean that when you have this dunya, you have the mercy of Allah. Allah is so merciful. Allah Kareem. It doesn't mean that. And if Allah wished anything good in this dunya, who would He have given it to? The Prophet. The first person He would have given it to was the Prophet of Allah. So all these cars and these houses that we're boasting about, yeah, today about my second house, and this second house is going to be my summer vacation house, or for my kid who's going to get married, and what? You're going to die and your kid's going to take over and they're going to fight over your house. Half of your house, his lawyer is going to take, the other half the other lawyer, and they're going to be left with nothing. So this dunya, where are the richest places on this dunya? Where is the richest place in this world? Makkah? Where else? Huh? Medina? Where else? Anyone? Huh? Where? Oh, mashallah, I think you've been in my class. The richest place in this world is graveyards. How is that? This is where you have millions of dollars worth of ambitions buried. Billions of dollars. Every single person in this graveyard wanted to be a millionaire, wanted to be the next prime minister, wanted to be the next CEO, wanted to be the next, business owner, wanted to have so many houses and cars. Aren't these ambitions worth millions? Yeah? So when they died, all those million-dollar ambitions and billion-dollar ambitions was buried with them. So if you want to know where's the richest place on earth, you go to the graveyards. Because all of those $1 million, you want to be a treasure hunter? Go to the graveyards. You will find out. That's where everyone died with their ambitions being buried with them. The Prophet ﷺ said, the son of Adam will never be satisfied. If he had one valley of gold, he would want a second. And if he had a second, he would want a third. So if we were to say if he had one house, he wants a second. If he had $1 million, he wants 10 million. If he has 10 million, he wants 100 million. One of the richest people in this world, Walid bin Talal, he sued Forbes magazine because they placed his wealth at $17 billion. He said, no, I'm worth 23 billion. He sued them. If Forbes magazine said, I'm worth 1 million, alhamdulillah, why do I need? He's still a billionaire. It's not like, they said, he's not a billionaire, he's only worth 900 million. Okay? And he said, no, I'm worth 1 billion. If that was the case, that's a huge thing, right? But he's suing them because he said he's worth 23 billion, and Forbes said no, he's only worth 17 billion. Then he got imprisoned in Ritz-Carlton, and he had to buy his freedom for $5 billion. So what Forbes magazine actually did was predict, and say, okay, you're worth 23 billion. This was back in, like 2010, 2009, 2011, I forgot. But during that time. 23 billion versus 17, that's what? About 6 billion? And he lost about 5 billion buying his freedom. But this is what this world is. Everyone is fighting over how much I'm worth, how much he's worth. You have a big house, I'm going to buy a bigger house. To the point where you even have family members doing hasad of one another, jealousy. You have a sister who's married to a very nice husband. He treats her very well. They have good kids. And you don't. You're probably not married, or you are. If you are, then your husband is not very nice or kind. And if he is, he's probably not generous. Whatever it is. And you have hasad over your own sister or your own brother. Forget about the rest of the world we're talking about. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala want for us in this world? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, chapter 87, verse 16 through 17, that you prefer this world. Allah is saying, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. Allah is preferring for you. He said, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيا. He said, you are preferring the life of this world. وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. But the akhirah is better and it is more lasting than the life of this world. In chapter 8, verse 67, Allah is saying, تُرِيدُونَ عَرَضَ الدُّنْيا. You want the luxuries of this world. وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةِ. And Allah wants the akhirah for you. In another place, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَفَرِحُوا بِالْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيا. And they become pleased and happy with the luxuries of this world, the life of this world. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا مَتَاعٌ. And what is the life of this dunya compared to the akhirah except a short enjoyment? Just a small little enjoyment. Allah, He says, you prefer the life of this world, while the hereafter is better and more lasting. Furthermore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in many parts of the Quran, life of this world is playing about. إِنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ. The life of this world is nothing but a play. The life of this world is nothing but وَلَهْوٌ. إِنَّمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا لَعِبٌ وَلَهْوٌ. It's idle talk. You go out with your friends, and what do? Gossip. You talk about other people. That's how you spend your life. Showing off. Go to Instagram, and you will find out the reality of showing off. Everyone is into themselves. Everyone is showing off their clothes as if we're all naked. Everyone is showing off what they're eating as if we're all hungry. Who are you showing off to? To the poor people? That you get to eat this food and they can't? Who are you showing off to? Your clothes. To those who probably don't have fancy clothes like you. That's what Allah says. This dunya is nothing but showing off. People show off back in the days with their kids. I have 10 kids. I have 10 sons. I have 20 sons. That's how they used to show off. That was a show of strength. People used to show off with money. Nowadays, it's also like that. How do people show off? Which restaurant they go to? What bag they're carrying? Is this something to show off with? Is this something you can come before Allah and be proud of? Right? This whole dunya, showing off. You know how much my wedding was? I spent $25,000 in one night. That's what people nowadays are doing. $25,000. I know one family, $25,000 just in one night. And you know what happened? The next day divorce, wallahi. They went to the Hilton Hotel, and she said, if you touch me, I'll call the police. Just on that night. Before that, there's other thousands of dollars they spent. Just on that night, the food and the wedding hall and the music band and everyone, $25,000. Nowadays, apparently, this music band, you get a whole bunch of people who have no college degree, they were dropouts. You bring them so they can play something which you can already hear on iTunes or on YouTube or anything like that. And they charge you what? How much do they charge you here? 5,000? 5,000 ringgits? Competing in wealth and children, it's like a mirage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, the life He compares in chapter 24, verse 39, He says the life of this world is like a person who's walking in a desert and he sees that there is water. And every time he goes close to it, there's no water. And he keeps on seeing the water. And every time he gets close to it, until this person, he dies in the desert without any water. Isn't this the life of this world? I'm going to attain that position. This person, he's chasing that position. He's trying to be the prime minister so bad. He's trying to be the king so bad. He's trying to be the CEO so bad. Yeah? Whatever it is he's trying to be, he can't get it. And he dies, what's that saying? Get rich or die trying. Where do you think they got it from? Huh? Get rich or die trying. Just like a person is, this is a mirage right here. Is there any water? That's not water. Allah describes that in the Quran. حَتَّى يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً. Until he thinks that this is ma, but it's not, so he can quench his thirst. This is the life of this world. That's the reality. You will never obtain your ambitions. 1,000%. Because all of us, do you think we're going to settle for, okay, as kids, 100 ringgit was a lot of money, right? Someone gave, you're on top, and then what happens? When you become a teenager, what's 100 ringgit? I need 200, I need 500. Then when you you go to university, 500 is worth nothing. You can't even pay your course fees. Then when you get married, what's 5,000? Can you survive 5,000 here in KL? No, you can't. Then when you become older and older, you will never be able to quench your ambitions. Never. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ so articulately described to us. Once he was sitting down with his Sahaba, and over there they didn't have, like marble floors or carpets, so he was able to draw on the sand of the masjid a square or a rectangle. And then he wrote, and then he took a line and he did this to it. Okay? And then he drew a whole bunch of lines on each side of the square or the rectangle. He said, this is the life of a person. This is his dreams and his ambitions that goes beyond his life. How many of us, we plan for, let's say, next year, and then we may never live until next year? How many people woke up yesterday or will wake up next week and say, okay, all right, I'm going to go to work, I'll wake up at 8, or I'll wake up at 6, I'll wake up whatever, but they never woke up? How many people left their desks at work and say, okay, I'm going to finish this off tomorrow when I come back? When they were going back home at night, they never made it home. It's not like, you're going to leave your house and say to your wife or to your husband, all right, inshallah, today's my last day, I guess I'll never see you. It's not like he knows he's never coming back. It's not like when he's at work and says to his boss, okay, all right, I'm handing you over everything because I'm going to die tonight, so I can't really, here's the passwords, here's the files. No. He has this ambition, tomorrow he's going to come. He has this hope that he's going to make it. And he's going to be, in management or whatever it is. He has that. This person, his ambition and his hope goes beyond his life. People prepare 10 years. He can't even live for one more year. That's the reality of this world. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? In this world, this is what they teach us, right? They teach us how selfishness. How you should undercut everyone. How you should, that's what capitalism is all about, right? Survival of the fittest. Undercut everyone, cheat everyone, let's see who you can beat because it's survival of the fittest. Games like this makes us forget the akhirah. Makes us have such ambition where you can own it all. Where you can go ahead and own all the real estate and put people in jail and put them in and get them in trouble, and you can be on top of the game. At a young age, and this is suited for what? 8 plus. Age 8 plus, they play this game. This world is nothing but a glittering show. وَزِينَةٌ وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ. People show off, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this dunya is nothing but a glittering show. So the Prophet ﷺ said, be in this dunya as if you are a stranger or a traveler. Be in this dunya as if you are a traveler or a stranger. Someone who's a stranger, he's not going to go ahead and settle down. He's going to live in this world as if he is a stranger just for a few days or a few weeks. The Sahaba, they left a legacy and they were the best. Why? Because they turned away from worldly pleasures. This world is described as a shadow. You chase it, it runs away from you. You run away from it, it runs after you. Sahaba, do you think they wanted this dunya? Wallahi, they didn't want this dunya. When Allah opened this dunya upon them, some of them started to cry. They thought that Allah is rewarding them in this world and not in the hereafter. They said, oh Allah, why are you giving us all of this when you didn't give it to the Prophet ﷺ? Because none of these conquests happened in the time of the Prophet. Oh Allah, why, as if you are rewarding us for whatever we have done for the service of Islam, you're rewarding us for it in this world. It is also described as the wine of shaitan, that he makes people drunk with this dunya. When you have a little bit of power and when you have a little bit of money, what happens? You think you can now start controlling people and start to do this and start to do that. It intoxicates people. Doesn't power intoxicate people? Huh? One day, you're putting people in jail, the next day you're in jail. Why are you guys laughing? I'm not alluding to anyone, okay? The Prophet ﷺ said, everything in this dunya is cursed. He said this dunya is cursed and everything in it, except 3 things. What are those 3 things? The dhikr of Allah, the student of knowledge, and the teacher who's teaching the students the Islamic knowledge. الدنيا ملعون وملعون ما فيها إلا ذكر الله ومن والاه أو عالم أو متعلم. Except a scholar, a teacher of religion, and a student of religion. Everything else is cursed. If you're not in one of these 3 categories, you're cursed by Allah. 100%. Some of you have tasted what being a student of knowledge is. Some of you, mashallah, are attending classes every single day, sometimes more than once a day, going from one place then to another place. This pleasure of the dhikr of Allah. This pleasure, you know, when I talk about pleasure, this is something I cannot describe to you guys. I can say there is such pleasure in recitation of Quran, but you will never know the reality of it until you yourself go ahead and taste it. I can tell you, you know, wallahi, if you make dhikr of Allah 1,000 times a day, by saying 100 times Subhanallah wa bihamdihi in the morning and evening. You say 100 times Astaghfirullah in the morning and evening. You say 100 times Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah 100 times in the morning and evening. You say 100 times in the morning and evening Allahumma salli wa sallim ala nabiyyina Muhammad. You say 100 times in the morning and evening, let's say La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minadh dhalimin. And all of this comes out to about 1,000 times. You do this for a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year. You will start to taste the sweetness of making dhikr. You will. The first time is going to be hard. Second time is going to be hard. After a while, you can't drive except by making dhikr. Wallahi, your car will not start without saying Bismillah. I remember the day when I made an accident, I reflected back, it's because I didn't make Bismillah and I didn't recite the dua of traveling. Either the traveling or I didn't recite the adhkar of the morning because I was running out. Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis samaa'i wa huwa as-sami'ul 'aliim. Then you will start to realize the importance of these adhkar. Then you're like, okay, all right. You know how you make insurance policy for your car? You take an insurance policy on your life. That's haram, but some people do. You take an insurance policy on your health. You know, people even take an insurance policy on, like, you know, their ears or their nose or their voice. You guys know that, right? Because that's their job. You know, their voice is their job, for example. That's their source of income. People take an insurance policy on different parts of their body, different things of their life. Wallahi, these adhkar is an insurance policy for our life in this world and also when we're about to die. When a person says La ilaha illallah right before he dies, that's a testimony that his life was filled with La ilaha illallah 100 times in the morning, 100 times in the evening. That's a testimony. It's not like okay, Malak al-Maut, when I see Malak al-Maut, okay, La ilaha illallah. No. You know, one scholar, he had a parrot. You guys know what's a parrot? He had a parrot. He taught this parrot, what do you think he's going to teach him? He's going to teach him La ilaha illallah. He's a scholar. He's going to teach him nothing except like the knowledge. He's probably having the durus and courses in his house. He taught this parrot La ilaha illallah. So every time, and you know, other words like Bismillah and Assalamu alaikum. Every time he entered, he said Bismillah. He said Assalamu alaikum. Every time he ate, he said Bismillah. And regularly he would say La ilaha illallah. Once, and this scholar, he also had a cat. This cat is Malak al-Maut for the bird, isn't it? When this cat jumped on the cage of this bird forgot La ilaha illallah. You think he was saying La ilaha illallah, La ilaha? No, he's going to do what? What it's naturally trained to do, which is what? Squeak and yell and flap its wings. Wallahi, that's the reality. When you see Malak al-Maut, you're going to say, oh, La ilaha illallah. I'm going to drive and someone, you know, he pulls out a gun and puts it to my head and say, Ashhadu an la. You think that's how it's going to happen? How many people you visited in the grave and they're in a coma for the past month or so? You think they're having you think they knew they were going into a coma and they said, okay, before I go, I'll say La ilaha illallah. They just happened to be in a coma. They probably had a stroke or a heart attack or something, an accident. And now they're in a coma for a year on life support. You think they have the opportunity to say La ilaha illallah? But imagine if they said La ilaha illallah 100 times in the morning and then La ilaha illallah 100 times in the evening. Allah will bless them and honor them to die at such a time in which they're making that big. That's the reality. There's one person from the Arab world. Look at how he died. He loved his girlfriend so much. Haram. He loved haram. He loved his girlfriend in Thailand. He would go visit her all the time. One time, when he was visiting her, as a sign of his extreme love for her, he made sajda to her. And he died in that sajda. And now we are talking about him. That's the legacy he left behind. What is the sin that you love of this world? That you're always doing it. What is it? Is it money? Haram money? Bribe? Cheating? What is it? You will die upon that. How do you know if this sin is from you or from Shaitan? If a sin you are committing, how do you know whether that sin you are committing it, meaning yourself, your nafs, or Shaitan is helping you to commit it? There's just one litmus test. That is, if you're always doing it, Shaitan says, all right, I don't have to keep on reminding you, you're doing it yourself. That's why we have the same sins being committed in Ramadan. There's no Shaitan. He said, I did my job for 11 months. But if it's a new sin you've never done before, then that's Shaitan telling you. That's why in Ramadan you will see gossiping and backbiting and slander. In Ramadan. You will see in Ramadan people committing haram after iftar. That's the best Muslim. While he's fasting, he said, no, I'm fasting. He said, let me break my fast first. Except a student of knowledge, or how many? So this dhikr, when I say the pleasure, the sweetness of dhikr and iman, you will not understand what I'm talking about unless you taste it. Likewise, when it comes to seeking knowledge, no matter how much I tell you, seek knowledge and you do this and you get the pleasure of it. You know, one of the best life I have ever lived, and I've lived different life cycles. And this is without any mubalagha, exaggeration. One of the best life I've ever lived was a student. This is my rule. This is my board. As a student, if you don't have a whiteboard, you're not a student. And if you don't have a whiteboard, you're not a teacher either. And that's my mattress. That's my books. You don't want to see the next one. 10 juz a day, 100 pages a day, 4 hours of sleep a day. And I was the happiest person in the world. I would never have traded that for anything. The only reason I came to Malaysia is because the coup happened in Egypt. And life was not becoming possible. I couldn't live there. So I had to send my family back, and that whole, dream that I was having for 3-4 years was shattered by the military coup. And I still, until now, me and my wife, we reminisce about the days we had. We were so busy. I didn't have time. My wife didn't have time. My son was busy from 8 in the morning till 12 midnight. 8 in the morning. Class, he would sleep 12 midnight. Quran, Arabic, and then his school studies. Everything. No wasting time. I wouldn't go to sleep until I finish 100 pages of reading. Whatever it was. Fiqh, usul, fiqh, tafsir, whatever it was. 100 pages. That's the goal you guys need to make. I'm not going to go to sleep until I read half a juz. Or Surah Mulk. Surah 30 ayahs. And we have a hard time trying to read 30 ayahs. Whatever I have right now, I will give it up just so I can go back in time to have it. And that was a phase in life. You make the best of it and you move on. Yeah? And this is what happened. This was 2-3 years difference. That's me before going. That's me 4 hours of sleep for the past 2-3 days. So having the riches of this world is not a sign of the pleasure of Allah. Allah, He says, فَلَمَّا نَسُوا مَا ذُكِّرُوا بِهِ فَتَحْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ أَبْوَابَ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Those who forget our remembrance, we will open upon them the doors of everything. So Allah, He's saying He will open the doors of every single thing. This world, Allah will open it up upon. He will open the doors of this world upon those who forget His remembrance, upon those who are not believing in Him. So this is not a sign that Allah loves you. You know, you go to someone's house and he just bought a house and he's trying to be good, right? He's trying to thank Allah by saying, Alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me with a house. Yeah, good. He thanks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that he was given. But do you think this is a blessing? Imagine if he said, Alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me to wake up for Fajr today without an alarm clock. That's the blessing. That's the true blessing. Not that you have a house or a car. That's not a blessing from Allah. That's a test from Allah. You can fail in that test, or you can pass in that test. Right? Those that prefer this world will have nothing in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا النَّارُ وَحَبِطَ مَا عَمِلُوا وَحَبِطَ مَا صَنَعُوا فَهُمْ. Allah, He says that in those who prefer this world, in the hereafter, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ لَيْسَ لَهُمْ فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا النَّارُ, they will have nothing except the fire of Jahannam. Those who prefer this world over the hereafter. In fact, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala admonished the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In one of the battles, he took a whole bunch of prisoners of war, and instead of executing them, he let them free, but with a ransom. And this was in the battle of Badr. Allah, He sent down His punishment upon a tree. So the Prophet ﷺ, he got so afraid. Jibreel came down, he said, you know why this happened? He said, because you let these kuffar go without executing them. Why? Because you wanted this world. You wanted the money, you wanted their ransom, so you can let them go. Even at the Prophet ﷺ, Allah got upset and He sent down the verses of the Quran. He said, مَا كَانَ لِلنَّبِيِّ. He said, it is not befitting for a prophet that he prefers this life over the obedience or over the hereafter. He said, you want this world? Allah wants the akhirah. تُرِيدُونَ عَرَضَ الدُّنْيَا وَاللَّهُ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةِ. But Allah wants the akhirah for you. One of the first people to enter into Jahannam are these three types of people. A martyr, why? He preferred the fame of this world over the hereafter. A scholar, why? Because he preferred the fame, the 1 million followers. He preferred that over the hereafter. A rich person, he preferred that people talk good about him in this world over being recognized by Allah in the hereafter. Shall we take a break? Take a 5-10 minute break, and we will continue, inshallah. Any questions?